Hi everybody, Michelle McLennan here, astrologer and life coach, and I'm bringing you an astrology update and a little bit of guidance from the heavens for the full moon on the 18th of March, which is going to be followed quite closely by the March equinox on the 20th. The March equinox always sets the scene for the year because it's drawn up, a chart is drawn up for that day and that time when the sun moves into Aries, which is kind of our start to the new year actually. Astrologically, the start to the new year is on the 20th of March, not on the 1st of January. So it forms a chart and it gives us a theme for the year, if you like. So this full moon chart is very similar with a few differences, but it really does set the scene for what we can kind of expect. So this full moon has more legs and more distance, spreads out for longer, really, if you like, because it links with that equinox point. The equinox point you can see is almost like a tuning fork for the year ahead. So if we look at the full moon energies, we have the sun and the sun in Pisces, as it's been for a while now, and the full moon is opposite the sun, which means that the moon is in Virgo. And if you look at the chart, I'll put a chart up on the screen. There's only basically one planet on the one side of the chart, and then there's a whole batch of other planets on the other, as you can see here. And so the moon in this chart is what we'd call a singleton. And so it kind of holds the energy for all the energy on the other side of it. So when we look to see what that is, Virgo is an earth sign. It's quite practical. It's quite grounded. It's very discerning. So in addition to this earthy moon, we have a grand earth trine with Pluto and the North Node, which is our destiny point. And so what this really says to me is that there's a beautiful, grounded, holding energy, a grounded healing energy here, in amongst all the chaos, in amongst all the confusion. So if you look at Pisces, Pisces is very sensitized. It's kind of very emotional. It's water. So Pisces at the moment, we've got Neptune, Jupiter, the Sun, and Mercury all in Pisces. Jupiter and Neptune are moving towards each other into a conjunction, which only happens once every 165 years or so. And when those two come together, you can say that it means big waters, which can mean big emotions, which can mean chaos, which can mean confusion, which can mean flooding, which actually is happening in many parts of the world right now. And all that water, all that emotion needs to be held. And this full moon is holding that for us. It's this groundedness, it's this healing space. It's kind of offering a container. So if you imagine water, when it's flooding, it goes all over the place and it can be quite destructive and very overwhelming. It can be fatal. Whereas if it's got a container or if it's channeled, then it's very useful. So this is a channel and a container for healing energy, this full moon. So you might find that physical issues come to the surface, or maybe have been coming to the surface. Maybe old symptoms that you used to experience might be quite big right now, and that can go right through from physical to emotional to mental to spiritual blocks that are coming up right now for clearing and healing. So that is a theme that's going to carry on for the year in some respect. The only thing that will happen in the next few days is that the sun will move, the few days after the full moon, that the sun will move out of Pisces into Aries, but Neptune is still very close, and so is Jupiter, and so is Mercury. So there's still a very big Pisces theme, a very big healing theme, a very big theme of compassion, if you look at Pisces, of us holding a space for others, being compassionate for what they're moving through, no matter what side of the fence they are. We're all doing the best that we can, all of us, every single one of us. And we're all part of the human collective, and we are all one. even though there's so much division in the world, I think it's to remember that we really are all connected and we are all one. And that place of connection is in our heart. That is where it is. So this is a time to surrender. It's a time specifically to surrender from criticism, from criticizing ourselves and from criticizing others. Virgo is known as the critic. So if you find yourself criticizing, see if you can just surrender that criticism just for this moment and just accept that this is coming up for my own healing. This is coming into my awareness for my own healing, for my own growth, for my soul's evolution, because that is what this is about. We are in a major time of clearing so that we can actually kind of prepare our bodies for the new energies that are coming onto our planet. So there's a lot out there that you can research about the light codes that are coming in. Apparently they're unparalleled. We've never experienced anything like this before. So our DNA, our energy systems are being upgraded. And in so doing, we might be experiencing difficult symptoms. We might be experiencing those big emotions. We might be experiencing these physical issues which seem to come out of nowhere. I know it's happened to me. It's happened to people close to me. It's happening to people close to me. Where they're going, where did this come from? It's an old thing that I thought I'd sorted out years ago, whether that's physical, mental, emotional, or whatever level it is, and it's coming up again. So if we can see this as a time to surrender to that and to say, okay, can I let go? Can I let go of the criticism? Can I let go of the need to fix it, or to fix this person in front of me, or to fix this situation in front of me? Can I just in this moment, just surrender, ground myself, hold a space for the feelings that are coming up, the fears that are coming up, the pains that are coming up, and to be gentle with ourselves and everybody else, because we're all moving through something. So that's a big theme, not only for the full moon, but also moving into our year, because it's a very similar theme for the equinox chart, which is the theme for the year. So grand trine, water, holding that space for all this water, all this healing, and also honing our energy so that we can actually, we can bring in those healing codes, those light codes, which is actually transforming us. And we can become more connected with Source, with the divine. So this is really about preparing our bodies, our minds, our souls. It's preparation for this huge transformation that's taking place so that we can actually physically deal with it. If our energies are blocked, it's going to be more difficult to actually accept and integrate the transformation that's happening. That's my understanding of it. On a more practical level, because Virgo is practical, this is a really good time to heal. It's a good time to look at your diet, to look at your exercise routine, to look at whether you're getting enough exercise, whether you're breathing enough, whether you're drinking enough water, what you're drinking, what you're eating. It's a good time to implement new diets that will really serve us, eating nurturing food from our area, eating natural food, staying away from processed food, maybe doing a detox, just to clear out, because these last few days with the sun in Pisces is a good time to clear out, particularly at full moon in Virgo, which is the healing, and full moons are always a release point. It's always where we release. We're releasing that which we don't need. Just on a practical note, with all the challenges in our world right now, it looks like there might very possibly be food shortages. I know there's going to be major petrol and diesel shortages, so that can actually relate to food shortages. So it's not a bad idea to stock up a little bit on the basics. Always a good idea to have something in the cupboard, in the storeroom, in the crate somewhere. The other thing that's happening this full moon and the equinox chart is that we still have 3 planets in Aquarius: Venus, Mars, and Saturn. And they are kind of moving into, over the next week, a square with Uranus, which is the planet of change, which rules Aquarius. So what's that theme? Because that theme is going to be around also for most of the year because of the Aries equinox, the equinox chart. So what is that? That Aquarius is the sign that topples old values, that looks from a higher perspective, that sees things from a different perspective, from a broader viewpoint, and says, what's actually going on here? Do I believe this? Do I trust this? Is this still working? Is this system still working? Is the system of government, for example, still working? Are my systems around my house still working? Is my value system still the same? So Venus is the planet of values. So our value systems might even be changing or being questioned. What do we value? Who do we value? There's going to be big changes to our food, which I've just mentioned, to our finances, which we can see, to the way we move around, possibly to the way we live. It feels to me that we are finding alternative ways of living, alternative ways of finding food, alternative ways of growing food, alternative maybe ways of living in community in some way, or forming communities within your suburb, because the move is more towards local and less towards global, because local actually works when we're eating local food, when we're supporting each other on a community level. That's what we're moving into here. That's what, it's very much the theme of the age of Aquarius, which is a very slow entry into an age, because an age is thousands of years long. But this is very much an Aquarian theme, a new way of thinking, a new way of perceiving, a new way of being, a new way of living, a new way of loving, heart-centered way, because there's going to be different kind of areas. There's going to be people who are very, very, very connected to the techno side of things. And I believe there's going to be people that are very connected to the heart, to the land, to growing our own food, to becoming self-sustainable. So this is the time of kind of discerning. It's also to just know that we are moving into this new. It's not going to be the same, and it is the new earth. And that's what we're busy building. And we each are part of that. Nobody's going to come and save us. We're doing it. It's up to us. It's a frequency change. Our frequencies are lifting. So how do we do that? This is such a good full moon to ask that. How do we raise our frequency? Are we meditating? Are we spending time in nature? Are we relaxing? Are we being gentle? Are we being kind to ourselves? And then that will radiate out. Are we nurturing ourselves? How are we nurturing ourselves? Are we living from the heart or from the head? Are we gobbling up a million things on social media every day, or are we listening? Are we quiet and listening to our own intuition, our own heart? That's the discernment that this full moon is asking us to look at. So really it's my advice for this full moon and for the next week or so is a beautiful Buddhist saying: chop wood, carry water. And I think it says, before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. It's a practical answer. When you're faced with chaos around you, do something just in the moment. Make yourself a cup of tea, water the garden, feed the birds, trim a plant. Do what you have to do in this moment. Cook a meal. Try and prevent yourself from hearing into the future, because that can be a bit overwhelming. But we can always handle this moment. And we can also always take care of this moment. I hope that's helped you. If you enjoyed this, please subscribe if you haven't already. And in order to get notifications, you apparently need to go into my channel and push the bell. and then you will be notified when I put a video out, which is once every 2 weeks or so, sometimes more frequently, but usually once every 2 weeks. And if you're feeling like you need support in this ongoing journey of ours, you're very welcome to join our Inner Space community, which is an ongoing support community which John and I run on our platform Journeys of Awakening. And our theme for April is courage. I think we're all going to need quite a lot of courage going forward. So you're very, very welcome to join us. In fact, we'd love to have you. There's lots going on there. There's a lot of community support, and we give you some material to work through during the month. We give you a meditation, and we gather twice a month on Zoom. So join us there. And if you'd like a reading to see how this is all playing out in your chart, you're welcome to give me a ring or email me. The details of all of that are below in the description box. Take care, lots of love, stay in the heart, remember to breathe.